This is the all-new 2026 Honda Passport. Now, Passport, that might be a name you're not super familiar with because, truth be told, Honda hasn't always sold a lot of Passports. Sure, they had the CR-V. Everybody has a CR-V. If you've got a bunch of kids, maybe you have a Honda Pilot, but sitting there in the middle has always been the Passport. It just hasn't always looked like this. Today we have the opportunity to drive the Passport on a pretty rugged off-road course, which is why I look like I'm wearing camping pajamas. Tomorrow I'll be in different clothes and we'll be driving this on-road. Between now and then though, let's take a quick walk around and see what the new Passport's all about. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the CarGurus YouTube channel and drop a comment down below. We're thrilled that you are watching this video. And we're thrilled with how the Passport looks. I mean, the old Passport, relatively capable for what it was, but it looked soft. It had that sloping hood. Now we have a very stout, blocky, off-road looking front end. I mean, we've got the new revised bumper. This has a better approach angle. We've got Passport stamped on the front. This blacked out H, that's part of the HPD package that is on this particular car, as is the matte black hood. But what I really like is all of the Passports have this hood scoop in here. It's on the RTL trim, the Trailsport trim, and the Trailsport Elite. I'll also note these headlights, they look really good. We'll throw some B-roll in there. They are incredibly bright. The DRLs, they kind of frame it up like a sideways U on either end, a bracket. Really gives it a strong look. Overall, I think this is a great looking redesign. Down the side, we still have that capable, purpose-built look. I mean, it looks strong. We've got the standard roof rails up here. We've got some plastic cladding down below. One feature I really like, this piece, this blacked out panel up here, it's specifically designed so that it won't get scuffed up if you want to like lean your skis on it. That's something that I put a lot of stock in. Now, Honda said that they went kind of with a backpack design motif when putting together this new Passport, and I think I kind of see it. With the blacked out D-pillar, this blacked out panel, the big window, it almost looks like it's wearing a backpack. Now the wheels on this, these are HPD specific wheels, they're part of that option package, but all Trailsports do get 18-inch rims, and that allows for a lot more sidewall than you'd get on a 20 or 22-inch wheel. That means a little softer, a little more comfortable, and better for off-roading. Now at the back, we still have the Passport name stamped across the back. We've got this little blacked out H emblem here, that's part of the HPD package, and then this tiny little windshield wiper. It looks comically small on a vehicle this big, but it really just speaks to the relatively narrow dimensions of the rear window. There's also a tow hitch on this one, and that's been designed to help add some protection to the rear bumper. Overall, I think it is a good looking vehicle. The rear is where it starts to fall apart for me. I think it's a little bit busy over here. This character line seems a bit superfluous, but let us know what you think. Is this exterior design a winner? Or should they have gone back to the old Passport? I think it's a winner. Inside this 2026 Honda Passport Trailsport trim, we have a lot of orange contrast. We have these accent markers here on the steering wheel, the orange contrast stitching all over the place. It's actually in this headrest. I don't know why we have a little tape here. Don't worry about that. It's probably a pre-production vehicle. More of it here, this toggle, a lot of orange. Other than the orange. If you like the orange, that's great. A lot of people might like the orange. I find it a little overwhelming. What I really like though is how they contrast the black synthetic leather in here with this gray cloth dash liner, and it's on the door card. It's actually on the bolsters of the seats. I think this looks really interesting, really cool. The Trailsport Elite, the higher trim, doesn't have that, and I think it's missing something because of it. Although the Trailsport Elite also has this stitching is black instead of orange, which I might prefer. Now the steering wheel and all the other touch points are good, nice and soft over here and over here. The steering wheel is a nice diameter. It's a little old school looking, but I do like that it has physical buttons for all of your controls. There's not a haptic button on this whole wheel, and that's super helpful. Driver information display is not too exciting. It's fully digital though, and it's clean, it's clear, it's easy to read, and it will show you some different stuff depending on what mode you're in. We'll get to that when we do some driving. And then up top we have a 12.3-inch touchscreen display, definitely the biggest tech upgrade in this vehicle. The old screen was only 8 inches. We also have physical controls for the climate, and then outside of the pure buttons, so there's two little bits I'd like to call out. This is the Trailsport trim, even the Trailsport Elite. There's a bank of 4 buttons to the left of the steering wheel, and on all of them, at least 2 are blank. They're not actual buttons, they're just filler panels. That seems strange to me. Maybe there's some more features that we can look forward to in the future. Now, as I was about to say, before I sidetracked myself, inside there's so much space and so much storage. So we have a really big center console bin. We've got 2 cup holders here, space for a phone to the right of another phone on the left on the wireless phone charger. This silly kind of cubby up here, you need a very specifically sized thing to use that. Little arm pocket here, more pockets down here, big door pocket. It's just a really spacious and comfortable vehicle, and one of our video producer's favorite features, because he's always sitting in this seat, is this handy shelf on the dash in front. So overall, I think it's not transformational. It's not as flashy or as exciting as you might see in some other crossovers, but it's really functional and it's really spacious, and it's definitely a step up from where the 2025 Passport was. It truly is a magnificently spacious vehicle. I really like sitting in the back seat where there is best-in-class legroom. I mean, Natalie Harrington should look at this car, because while she has short legs, her husband has very, very long legs, and I know she likes to do the majority of the driving. Now, in the back seat, we have this wall-style outlet. We have 2 USB ports. We've got your typical map pockets here. On the Trailsport Elite trim, there's an additional pocket up top. I find that really handy. We've got more cubbies back here. We don't have sunshades in this one. I always wish there were sunshades. Fold down armrest, that looks good. We've got a couple of cup holders here. There's a fly in this. I really like the flat floor. Despite having standard all-wheel drive, we don't have a big transmission hump in this vehicle. And it's very spacious. I mean, not only does it have more rear seat legroom than a Subaru Outback, than a 4Runner, than a Jeep Grand Cherokee, but even with all that legroom, it also has a ton of cargo space. Behind this seat, there's 44 cubic feet of cargo space. And if we fold this down, it's 83.8 cubic feet. That is positively massive. Off-road is really where Honda needs the Passport to excel, because this is not supposed to be some Ford Edge, Nissan Murano competitor anymore, RIP Ford Edge. No, this is supposed to go up against off-road capable trucks like the 4Runner or the Land Cruiser, maybe the Trailhawk Jeep Grand Cherokee. We do have this little toggle switch down here for different drive modes. Today we've pretty much exclusively been in trail mode. That's a new one, along with sport mode, trail and sport. That's fun. And a new tow mode. Now those join the standard modes from previous Passports, almost at Outbacks, Passports that were Econ, Normal, Snow, and Sand. Let's talk a little bit more about the engine while I descend this hill, not using the engine at all. Just the brake, please. Under the hood is a 3.5-liter dual overhead cam V6 engine. Now, the old Passport, that also had 3.5 liters. It was a naturally aspirated V6, but Honda says this one is all new. Despite that, it makes 285 horsepower, which is only 5 horsepower more than the old V6. Now, I do like that Honda is sticking with the naturally aspirated V6 formula. You know, we're seeing a lot of turboed 4 cylinders, hybrid components, and fuel economy is great. I'm all for using less gas, and particularly spending less money on gas. But when you need those 6 cylinders, well, the Passport will be here for you. It's a robust engine. The difference in power over the previous one is interesting, because it's only 5 horsepower more, and the torque figure, 262 pound-feet, that doesn't change at all. So it's not just about how much power the new V6 makes, it's about how it delivers it. Honda has applied the new second generation iVTM4 all-wheel drive system to the Passport. Every Passport gets it, is standard equipment. There's also a 10-speed automatic transmission instead of the outgoing 9-speed automatic. If you have any specific questions about the Passport's off-road capabilities that I haven't gotten into, I encourage you to jump down in the comments, ask away, let us know what are your questions. We are going to have a full written review of this vehicle on CarGurus.com, but I'll hop down in there, I'll muck it up with you guys. Let's hear, what do you want to know about the Passport? Do you think this can actually compete with something like a 4Runner or Land Cruiser? And yeah, let's have a conversation there. Now, how does that new 10-speed transmission and the new engine react in on-road, real-world driving circumstances? Because yes, we are now on the road, no longer on the trail. New clothes, new roads, and I have to say, the 10-speed is really predictable. It's very smooth. Shifts are very quiet, and that's refreshing, because the 9-speed I also thought was really good, and the last thing you want is to get rid of a good transmission, replace it with a more advanced, more, progressive, is that the right word? 10-speed transmission, just have that one be terrible. And that's not the case here. This one is also very smooth, very easy. We do have paddle shifters. That came in handy. We put it in like manual mode on the trail when you had a steep incline, and you keep it in first gear to keep the revs up. You're not going to use these driving around on the road. It's not a sports car. But given that it's not a sports car, I'm also pretty impressed with the steering. So the steering feel it's tight. It's not, there's very little play off center. There's just the slightest amount, but not so much that you're ever feeling too sloppy. And similarly, the pedal feel, the power comes pretty close right after tip in. So that really mirrors the feel that you're getting out of the steering. It's very cohesive. It feels like a well-engineered, well-put-together car. A lot of thought. The type of engineering you see from Mazda these days. Honda's really matching them there with the Passport. And the noise in here, we're about 35 miles per hour right now, so we're not ripping along. I can hear the all-terrain tires, and my sunglasses jiggling over here. I can hear the all-terrain tires a bit on the surface road. If you get the RTL, that's going to quiet down quite a bit. Those are going to have all-season tires. And in terms of wind noise, maybe it would crank up a little if we got up to highway speeds, but not too obtrusive driving around town. And similarly, the engine, very, very unobtrusive. Hardly hear that at all. So altogether, I'd say this is a very pleasant, very peaceful SUV to drive. It's also, given its size, it doesn't feel like you're driving a big car. I'm sitting up pretty high, but it doesn't feel overly wide. And these are not the largest roads I've ever driven on, so I'm pretty happy with the kind of the tidy manners of the Passport. All in all, good on-road car. We've seen what it can do off-road. Now, the bad news is that the fuel economy really isn't an improvement with the 2026 Passport over the previous gen. The RTL trim, with those all-season tires, it only gets 19 mpg in the city, 25 highway, and 21 in combined driving. And if you do get a Trail Sport or a Trail Sport Elite, those numbers drop to 18 city, 23 highway, and 20 combined. And that's just not overly competitive. Now, there is cylinder deactivation with this engine, and that means that in low load, low demand situations, the Passport will just run on 3 cylinders while keeping all that V6 power available when you need it. And so from an emissions perspective, that's great. But we're all ultimately we're going to measure this car's efficiency and its economical performance based on how much we spend at the gas pump, and it's still going to cost you a fair bit. Now, I have had a lovely time driving on these roads, but I've always heard that green really brings out my eyes, so I think we should go back to green shirt Matt and the trail. In terms of tech, we did talk about the 10.2-inch driver information display, and there are some sort of tech adjacent things worth mentioning. I mean, we've got 4 USB-C ports in this car. We also have some things like heated seats. They're ventilated seats as well if you get the Trailsport Elite trim. Not tech at all, but I'm realizing I hadn't brought it up. The Trailsport trims, both of them get this nice panoramic moonroof. I love that. And then in terms of the screen itself, well, this is the centerpiece. And if tech is important to you, this is one of the big arguments for the 2026 Passport instead of an earlier model. Not only is it 12.3 inches, that's pretty big, but it's a nice widescreen layout. I think it looks really sharp, and it has Google built in. Now, it doesn't have as many physical controls as some people are gonna want, but at least we do still have a physical volume knob, and then there are these kind of hard-coded static icons on the left for things like home, to go back, your Google Assistant. So Google Assistant, along with Google Maps, those are built in with Google built in. We mentioned that before, but if you want to use Android Auto or you want to use Apple CarPlay, they have those, they're wireless, they're on here as well. One thing that isn't on here is a native Sirius XM satellite radio player. So, you know, if you really like channel 29, for instance, you're not going to be able to get that in the car. You could probably get it on the Sirius XM app, stream it through the car, but if it's important to you to have it built in on your car, well, you don't get Sirius XM built in, you just get Google built in. In terms of safety, you still get Honda Sensing as the Advanced Driver Assistance Systems suite, or ADAS suite. Now, there are a few additions. You have traffic jam assist, you have traffic sign recognition, advanced braking control. I'll be honest, I don't know 100% what that means, so check out the written review for more detail there. And because this is a trail sport, we also have multiple camera angles. We have hill descent control. All told, and of course you get 8 standard airbags in every Passport. All told, it appears to be a relatively safe vehicle. We're gonna need to wait for the NHTSA and IIHS safety tests though, because the previous Passport, well, it had most of that Honda Sensing suite, and it still didn't qualify for an IIHS top safety pick. So when it comes to crash testing, unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait for those results. Now, pricing, that is probably going to be the sticking point for a lot of shoppers, because the Passport, it's not inexpensive. It starts at $46,200 for the RTL trim, and that does include its $1,450 destination fee. But if you want a Trail Sport, well, then it starts at $49,900, and a Trail Sport Elite, $53,900. Those are pretty pricey vehicles. They're more in line with kind of a mid-level or an upper-level 4Runner, even getting into Land Cruiser territory. And that ultimately is what Honda is going for with this, because it's not just a 2-row Pilot. It's supposed to be a little more aspirational, a little more lifestyle focused. I mean, for Pete's sake, they put a panel up here designed for me to lean my skis against. That's what we're all about, and I want to hear from you. Does it hit the mark? Does it have the goods? It's certainly handled pretty well off-road, and I think it has a pretty compelling interior package, particularly if you value cargo space and legroom. Now, let us know what you think in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.